Well, a very good morning from Patong, and first off I would like to wish everyone a very happy new year. Hope everyone had a great evening last night given the current circumstances. You're probably wondering why I haven't done any videos lately. I think it's been just over a month since my last video, and of course the main reason for this, well, there's two reasons actually, but the main reason is of course the ongoing situation. Over the last 6 months we haven't really seen any great improvements here in Phuket, mainly because of the international tourism position. The borders are now open, most people can apply for visas, but unfortunately if you wish to enter Thailand at the moment, you have to go into quarantine for 14 days, and there is also a cost involved for a lot of international travellers, which is making it very expensive to come here, and of course putting people off, because a lot of people don't want to go into a hotel and be isolated for 14 days, and I totally understand that, but I also understand the government's position that they need to protect the people here in Thailand. There is now talk of vaccines that have become available in the last month or so, and I believe in the UK the vaccines have already started being administered to people, so there are people that now are taking the vaccine. But unfortunately the news in the last few days here in Thailand, the government have said that even though people have taken the vaccine, they will still have to go into quarantine, mainly because the government don't know enough about this new vaccine. It's all very new. They haven't had enough time, there isn't enough data to tell the government whether the vaccine is not only going to protect the person that's vaccinated, but whether that person can still carry and transmit the virus. And of course here in Thailand we're not yet got the vaccine, it's not yet available. There was talk that it wouldn't be available till June, but yesterday I saw an article saying they're going to try and get it here for February, but that's not being confirmed, so I'm not quite sure when they're going to start distributing the vaccine here in Thailand. And of course until that happens, the government have got to protect the people that live here in Thailand, and of course if people are coming in and not going into quarantine, there is a chance that they could be carrying the virus. So I do understand both sides of the position, but unfortunately it's not really going to help the international tourism. It means Phuket especially has been very heavily affected. The virus situation isn't something I want to have to keep covering. My channel isn't about all the doom and gloom. I want to show a positive side of Thailand and indeed Phuket, because over the last 3 to 5 years, Thailand and particularly Phuket has taken a hammering from the media, saying that it's overpriced, there's a lot of scams. Very, very negative image of Phuket over the last 5 years, and this is one of the reasons why I started my channel, because I wanted to show that not all the negative media coverage that's so easily spread nowadays on social media is always necessarily accurate. I'm not going to say all of it's not true, but there's a big proportion that isn't, and I also wanted to show that where people say it's expensive, I can show that it's not expensive. Where people say there's scams, I can show how to avoid these scams. These are the things that originally I wanted to set up my channel for, and of course in the meantime we've had this virus situation occur, which has stopped international tourism virtually altogether. There are a few people coming in, so of course with that in mind, a lot of the businesses here unfortunately are still closed. As I say, things haven't really improved over the last 6 months. Some businesses in Phuket town, Shillong, Rawai, areas like that are not heavily reliant on tourism, has seen some life coming back to those communities and areas, but places such as where we are today in Patong, Katakaron, Surin, Kamalar, these areas have been very heavily affected, and we're not seeing much recovery in those areas. In fact, a lot of businesses, I would say a good 95% of the businesses in those areas are still closed, and we're not going to see any improvement in that until of course we start to see international tourism. And it's a bit of a catch-22, because we're not going to see international tourism until the quarantine restrictions are removed, and we're not quite sure when that's going to happen. It could be another 6 months, it could be even another 12 months, and this is causing me issues on being able to try and find informative and good content that I can bring to you that doesn't have to feature the coronavirus. I don't want to be featuring it. Got a cab? got a little friend here, just come to join me. I don't know who he is, but he's interested in obviously I'm standing here making a video, and he's come over to see what I'm doing. So of course, where was I now? I've lost train of thought. So I want to be able to bring interesting and informative content that doesn't feature the coronavirus all the time, because to be honest, I'm getting a little bit fed up with the stories. It's all doom and gloom, and that isn't what my channel is about. I want to be showing a positive side of Thailand, not a negative side. There's enough people already doing that out there that are showing the empty streets and the abandoned shops, etc. And whilst I do think it's important to highlight the damage that the coronavirus has done over here, I don't necessarily want to have to make every other video about that situation. I want to try and bring some positivity to the channel, and hopefully positivity to people out there who are looking forward to revisiting Thailand. Well, it's a little bit later in the day, and after spending a few hours this morning on Patong beach, we've decided to come down to Yanui beach, which you can see behind me, and it's quite busy down here. I was actually quite surprised as we've come past. A lot of people, of course, on holiday today. It's a bank holiday over here in Thailand. They do recognise the 1st of January being the start of the new year, even though it isn't the start of the Thai New Year. A lot of people out sort of having a look around and enjoying the nice weather, because it's been a really nice day. We've just come from a restaurant. We've just had a little bit of food at a small restaurant in Nai Hom, and it was actually almost full, which is nice to see. As I've mentioned, not the norm here, the scenes that you've seen, but it is nice to see people out and about, of course. Going back to what I was talking about in Patong, the other reason why I haven't been putting out a lot of content lately, even though our business is not directly connected to tourism in any way, it has been affected and is being affected. We've seen a drop of 75% in our customers. So of course, a lot of our customers in some way are connected to tourism. They may work in the industry, such as at shops, tourist shops, or restaurants that deal with the tourism side of things, or indeed in hotels. We have clients and customers that are business owners. Again, if they're not making any money, they're not going to be spending any money, so they're visiting, unfortunately, our business less and spending less when they do. So that has caused us to have a drop in what we earn. So I've been looking at other ways of boosting our income, because of course we still have bills to pay, etc. And because of that, I haven't had as much free time as I normally have to make YouTube videos. They are actually time consuming, and I would like to mention that I do have a Facebook group which I keep more up to date at the moment, because it's a lot easier to do a Facebook post than it is to make a YouTube video. It takes a lot more time and work to make these videos. So if you're interested in my content and what I do, then do go and check out the link in the description down below for my Facebook group. If you haven't already joined it, then please do join. There's also content in there that you won't find on my YouTube channel, just simply because it's easier to do short little posts on the group than it is to make videos all the time. And this is one of the reasons why, as I mentioned, that I'm not putting out as much content, because I'm struggling for that content. To be honest, with most of the businesses closed in the touristy areas, the only real areas that I can focus on at the moment are places like Phuket town, Shillong, Rawai, because most of the businesses in those areas are open. But places such as Katakaran, as I've mentioned earlier, Patong, Surin, Camelot, a lot of businesses closed, so I can't do a lot of filming over there because I don't have a lot to film. And of course, I've already done the beaches, and I don't want to have to keep filming what I've already filmed, and I don't want to do all the doom and gloom content, which doesn't leave me a lot of content to find and be able to put out. I want to put positive content on my channel. I want to give you something to look forward to, some good news rather than all the bad news. And this is the reason why the content has dropped off a little bit, because I'm struggling to find that content. But I will endeavour as we go now forward in this year. Hopefully it's going to bring some good news later in the year, and we're going to have a better year towards the latter part of it. But I think for the next 6 months at least, it's still going to be a struggle over here in Phuket, because of the quarantine regulations are going to be staying in place for the time being. And of course, this is putting off the international tourism, which I understand both sides of the coin, but unfortunately that's just the way it is. So what I've decided to do is I'm going to look at putting maybe 1 or 2 videos out a month. That way it gives me the time to be able to sort out content and also put them together. As I say, I don't have as much free time at the moment because I am working on other things rather than YouTube. Contrary to common belief, small YouTube channels do not make a lot of money. Certainly not enough to live on or pay your bills, so I have to give my priorities to other areas, and I don't want to feature all the doom and gloom all the time just for the sake of views. That doesn't interest me, and it's not going to help the recovery of Phuket. So really today I just wanted to make a short video to bring people up to speed, because I know I've had a lot of comments and a lot of people asking me why I haven't been putting out any content lately. I think it's been about 4 weeks, just over a month, since I did my last video on the hotel, and as I've mentioned earlier in this video, the reasons why the content hasn't been coming out as regular. I am going to make an effort to start making some new videos, but I want to be bringing positive videos to you, so please do bear with me. The channel hasn't finished, far from it. It's just a matter of getting the right content. As I've mentioned, I do think it's important to highlight the effect that the virus has had over here in Phuket, but I don't want to dwell on it too much and give that negative impression. And it seems just lately the news is just full of bad news, and it's about time we brought some good news. So hopefully I can do that on the channel. So until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.